There it went. See? Good. I'm telling you, my voice has been going for a week. Welcome to Good News, Covington County. And boy, we're blessed today to have a wonderful young lady come on and talk to us about a place that I have enjoyed eating at for several months now. And Valerie Simone, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate being here.
Gosh, I'll tell you, y'all came in, you took it. Here's what I like. Y'all took an old building that was used for many different things. Had a lot of work to be done in it.
Tremendous amount.
And you guys came in, you renovated the whole place, and made it into a restaurant. Well, I call it a restaurant, you call it something else, and then a bakery, which you call something else too, but we'll get to all that here in a minute. But I'm telling you, you have a very good menu, and you also have a very moderate menu as far as, you know, pricing of certain things. You're also got great sandwiches, you've got great entrees, and I can go on and on and on, but I'm not going to do all the talking. I got to talk to you a little bit about your husband. Your husband's name is?
Ken Simone.
Ken Simone. I expected to be Simone. Don't know why, but but Ken is a really nice guy, and we enjoy him. And
I like him.
Yeah, I think you do. You've been married for a couple of days anyway.
You.
And you got a wonderful son who I think the world of. His name is?
Braden McLean. They call him Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey, yeah. A great guy. And very respectable. He treats people right. And I enjoy just being around him. You've done a good job there. So
Well, thank you.
if you run your restaurant, anything like you raise your son, you can be just fine.
Well, I'm hoping.
Tell us about your restaurant background. How did you decide to, well, no, talk about your background first.
Well, I was educated and have a couple degrees, and before we moved from the southern New Jersey, Philadelphia area, I was a senior director of human resources and safety for large manufacturing companies. But over the years, the increased responsibilities, I climbed the corporate ladder, meant a lot more travel, which I wasn't maintaining the work-family balance. So when my husband was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and we needed to relocate, we elected to move to Andalusia. My parents had retired here several years ago, and we really liked the sense of community and the hospitality and the way the children have such manners and all the activities so they're not getting into trouble. So we made the move, and you know, I was naive. I didn't know how rural it was. You know, it's a big culture shock when you come from an urban area. So when I couldn't find a job in my career, I could if I wanted to travel, but that was the whole point of moving.
Exactly.
So I'm too much of a fidget and decided we had to do something, and we saw that old building and the light popped on.
Beautiful building.
And we, my husband, you know, had the fortitude to believe in me, and we're partners and everything. And he and my father were right there with me working all the time, 6 months.
Wow, I remember that going off. And you know what's neat is your mom and pop, as we call it. You see, Teresa and I, we're mom and pop. And that's kind of cool that you can, you know, we love it, okay, this way, because we're together all the time, and people say, boy, she's glued to your hip, Eddie. And I go, yeah, she needs to be. And I'm sure your husband feels the same way with you, because, you know, you get to a point in your life to where everything's an integral part of what you do, and your partner's in it, and people sit there and they go, how can you live and work together? It's real easy when you love each other.
It is.
And that's what it's all about. The key word, love.
And respect.
That's right. Well, love is respect. And,
yes,
and
it is.
you know, you've got to have that internal part of you that says, you know what, that's my wife, that's my partner. Well, not only my partner, but my business associate. And you have, who else can you trust?
That's true.
So, you know, so there's a lot of love there. And boy, you brought some great stuff to the where'd you learn how to bake?
Just out of necessity, I guess. My mom always jokes that, you know, because they say, you must have been a wonderful cook, but because both your children have ended up in the culinary world. And I'm not modest. My brother's the chef of the family. He's phenomenal.
Okay.
I just enjoyed baking, and
now that's the confectionery part.
Well, confectionery can be baking. It can also be candies. Closer to the
Okay.
holidays, we'll have chocolates and caramels, and um, it can be sweetbreads. It's more of a generic term as opposed to bakery, and part of that is probably because where we came from originally, there were all these Italian bakeries, which are predominantly bread, and
Ah.
so again, it was just, and two
Italian.
C's in the name just sounded different,
It
cafe and
does.
confectionery. So
I never noticed it on your sign that much. Okay, I really didn't. And then I was doing that thing for the belly dance, and they had you on there, and it said Simone's and confectionery, and I'm like, okay, what goes on in that back room? I don't know, but you guys have got what kind of? Well, let's just go right now. I've had your cookies. Doctor, don't watch this, okay? And Tanya, you better not say a word to him. That's the nurse. Let's see, the cake, I think it was a pound cake that you made. Um, let's see, there was something else I got, a fudge, I think, or something. Was it a fudge?
we've been trying different candies
Yeah.
that people like, and
Yeah, and it was a brownie, I think. Yeah, a while back, you had some brownies. Boy, yeah. That was good stuff. The cookies are the type I like. They're not overbaked. They're not, and they're right proportions. They're not the, you get them this big or you get them that big. They're the right size, and two of them will take care of dessert.
we try and do a lot of the desserts in smaller portion size so that people can get a sampling. They can't decide what they want, so they can have one of these and one of those, as opposed to a big thing where it's just too much after you've eaten a full lunch. Eat too many, you're ready for a nap in the afternoon instead of back to work. So
I thought that was normal. Well, you came into a community that has one thing that's just prevalent out there, and that's places to eat in Andalusia, Covington County. And you were, I want to say, gutsy enough to set up a little different restaurant than what's available out here. It's a cross between fine dining, in a sense, and the atmosphere when you walk in. Beautiful. If you haven't been inside, I sit around doing this the whole time I'm in there, just looking at all the woodwork and all the time and effort that went into redoing that place. And then you sit down to a great meal. Now, tell us about your lunch menu. What's that all about?
well, I guess the biggest change from a lot of the restaurants is we don't fry. And we're certainly not against fried foods at all. It's just
Better not be.
no, I mean it's wonderful, but part of it is a cost, with
Right.
when you're creating a new restaurant because of all the codes and the requirements. And two, it's a lot more cleaning and it's more hazardous with grease fires, things like that. So we were trying to offer a different menu, and part of it's because a lot of people have health conditions. My father has coronary artery disease, for example, and has to limit his intake of fried foods. So we make homemade soups every day, which
Oh,
change
yeah.
every day, and and we'll try different ones. Customers have come in with different requests, and we've tried to make them. We have a variety of sandwiches. We bake all the meat fresh. We don't buy processed lunch meat. We'll bake a ham. We'll bake an eye round for roast beef sandwiches. We'll bake a pork loin for a pork Italiano sandwich. We roast our chicken for our chicken salad. Tuna comes out of a can, and then we make tuna salad. But
Charlie's always good, though.
yeah, yes. But we try and offer a few hot sandwiches and a few cold, and then we diversify with a different special each day. And we put it on Facebook. A lot of people have asked us to do that. We have a lot of people that'll call in and ask what it is each day. We have one lady at one of the local insurance agencies. She's our lasagna lady, and she'll call and say, "You haven't had lasagna in a few weeks. You need to make it. I miss it." And she's a great customer. And that's also a trial, so we see what people like. So we're trying to adjust the menu.
It's a balance that you got to do in a community like this because, again, there are so many different places to go eat, and you've got to stand down a little bit different to draw that group in and stay steady so you can stay in business.
Well, that, and a lot of people say, well, why don't you do a buffet? And again, we're not against buffets at all.
Right.
But by doing the table service, one, it's a little more elegant when somebody waits
Right.
on you. I know that I want to go out and have somebody wait on me for a change if I ever get the chance to go out. And the other reason is because of dietary restrictions. We have some people that are celiacs within the community, and gluten is a huge danger. It's paramount. And then we have a lot of people now that are becoming what they call gluten sensitive. And a lot of people don't understand, where our staff is trained. And if somebody says, I'm gluten sensitive, they'll come get me, and I'll walk out and talk to a customer. And, it's not just croutons or pasta.
Right.
Soy sauce has glutens in it and could be toxic to a celiac. If you cut a tomato on a cutting board that you've utilized for cutting bread or sandwiches, it could poison someone. So giving the table service, besides being somewhat elegant and spoiling, it's also a health concern, so that we can comply with people with
I've
allergies.
heard this so many times, in this word gluten, gluten, gluten. I didn't hear about it until the past 2 years. What is gluten?
Gluten is it's a wheat-based product, whereas like a tortilla chip is corn-based, or rice is a different product, and they're not glutens. But glutens come in a lot of different ways. Everybody can associate a crouton or bread,
Right.
but flour, anything with flour, unless you get rice flour or cornmeal or corn flour. A lot of sauces are thickened. A lot of restaurants will buy different types of bases, to expedite the process, because it's a lot of work to make. We make our
Right.
own chicken stock, but sometimes with beef base, we'll use a beef base additive to expedite the process. They have thickening agents in it that are flour, and that contains gluten. As we got more and more customers that have these allergies or sensitivities, we started utilizing cornstarch as a thickening agent in a lot of our cream soups. So now customers can come in and say, Valerie, did you make the soup today? And I can actually tell them every single ingredient, because I've made it from scratch.
Right.
And that's a difference. But there are a lot of little things like soy sauce, or you have to
I
read
never
every
knew what it-
ingredient.
yeah.
And there is a new soy sauce that comes out that doesn't have it. But like our marinated chicken breast, for example, one of the components in our homemade marinade is soy sauce.
What is it about gluten? I mean, is it now? Emily over here at Brooks Hardware, she's one that enlightened me 2 years ago, I think it was, about gluten, and she went on gluten-free diet, and I thought it was sick. I was like, really? You can't have bread? You can't have, the staples of Eddie? Okay, I mean,
Well, they do make bread with rice flour. And, there's one to be a sensitivity, and it's another thing when they're in a celiac. I had friends up north that had children with significant allergies. And there are actually symbols on packages on hot dog rolls and different things that are gluten symbols for
Wow.
parents with children with allergies. It's
So
just
this
like
is
the
serious.
it can be. It's very similar to if someone who's allergic to peanut butter and they end up in anaphylactic shock. I'm certainly not a physician or medical.
No, I know, but I'm like,
for layman's
who
terms,
could be allergic to peanut butter? I
a
mean,
lot of people.
Really?
And that's really hard when a restaurant says they're gluten-free. It's very hard. If you have flour in the building, you're technically not a gluten-free
Right.
place, because just a dusting could be toxic to someone. So we have one customer who loves our salad with marinated chicken. So we cook a separate chicken breast, and we put it in a separate pan so that there's no cross-contamination for her plate. And I'll get fresh lettuce and wash it to make sure that a crouton didn't fall in it, or
Gotcha.
et cetera. It's a very delicate balance, but it's a person's life and it's their health. So that's part of it.
Wow.
We also have diabetics. They want to know what the desserts are, and they want to make sure that they're lower calorie. And so we're trying to comply. We have a lot
well,
of
let
requests.
me ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I ate your pound cake. Okay, it's been a few weeks ago. I had it was a very good portion, and boy, we went into the half hour, didn't we? But it was a very good portion, and I went home. They say always check your blood sugar after 2 hours after you eat. That's what my doctor tells me. I went home, and I had no increase in my sugar. I mean, it was normal, and it was within my normal bounds. Was that pound cake something I should know about as far as a diabetic? It wasn't loaded with sugar.
It wasn't loaded. Our pound cake has 2 cups of sugar, but it's a pretty big,
Right. It was a big cake.
Yeah. That's not highly sugared. We're trying not to make the dessert sickening sweet, just more home style. I'm not a trained pastry chef, and I don't claim to be. You know, I have right on our menus that especially in decorative cakes, you know, I warn people, you know, if I decorate with cream cheese icing, it's not going to be as pretty as the people who do it with the stronger ice, but boy, it's going to taste good, you know. So, um, and I'm always upset because in my mind the cakes are always going to look prettier than they are when I actually prepare them. But um, you know, we have a specialty that we do, um, and we just admit it. You know, it's more like mom would make at home. It's not
It's
gourmet
home cooked
level.
meal, and
Yes.
but yet it's a very fine setting. I like that about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going
Okay.
to come on back, and we're going to talk more about your restaurant and about how you're set. I had no idea about the gluten. I'm in total amazement, and I hope our audience realizes that the care that you take in preparing your food, other than going into some of these, I'm not going to name nobody's restaurant, but they get out there and they get into the buffets, they get into all this stuff and the fried foods, and hey, we're Southern boys, okay? We love that fried food. But we'll come back and talk more to Valerie and Valerie Simone from Simone's
Cafe and
Cafe and
confectionery.
Confectionery. I want to make sure I get it right. And but folks, remember, keep it real, keep God in it. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to Good News Covenant County. And with us today, we have the wonderful Valerie Simone from Simone's Cafe and Confectionery.
Excellent.
I got it.
You did.
I
You did very
got
well.
it. If it's not in front of me, I just go like, man, we were talking about the preparation of your food and everything and the lunch and the care. I, I don't know. There's a lot of great places to eat, but I never knew there was that much concern in going into a product to come out to the customer.
Well, it's if they have an allergy, if they don't ask.
Oh, I've
then
got
you
them,
don't
but it's
know.
not food. We can tell that.
But there are a lot of people, and it seems to be growing. So.
It is, and it's not a fad. It's something that is real. And when you start looking at we're talking off camera about, look at the Asian folks and look at how, the majority of them are, small, thin people, okay? Uh, they eat fish and they eat rice and they eat not gluten-free pretty much. They come here to the States and you don't see them with a big white bread sandwich sitting there chewing down on it.
No, and it's not just gluten. There's MSG. We have a couple people in town that are highly allergic to
Ooh,
MSG,
yeah.
monosodium glutamate. Um, you know, so they'll ask, and well, we make the chicken stock, so it doesn't have any of our soups that are chicken based. We vegetarians and vegans. That's a big one now. And so if we have potato soup or we have clam
Oh,
chowder,
Stop.
it
The
doesn't
potato soup. Woohoo!
But you know,
Wow.
if we make a potato soup, there isn't any chicken base or beef base. It's truly a vegetarian
That
soup.
was awesome
We have
stuff.
bacon on the side, so if there is vegetarian, now vegan won't eat that because it has dairy.
Right.
But there are all these different concerns.
Vegan sounds like somebody off a television show.
Right, but it's a growing one. So we have salads and we have different things that they can do. We have an egg salad sandwich for the vegetarians. The vegans won't eat that. We have a protein plate for the people that are carbohydrate sensitive, for the people who are doing the Atkins or the South Beach diets and don't want any carbs. You know, it's all proteins. It's tuna. It's hard-boiled eggs. It's vegetables. It's so a lot of different people have different dietary concerns. Some will want this on the side. They want something slightly different. So we're trying to accommodate. Sometimes we just can't. We don't have something available. Right. But whenever we can, we want to accommodate and become a neighborhood restaurant.
One of the things I notice when I get a sandwich or some prepared from there, there's not a lot of salt and pepper added to it. I mean, it's you flavor it to your taste, not to, you just don't come out and potato soup. Some people just ruin that with tons of salt.
Well, if it's made well, you shouldn't have to add much to it, hopefully,
Right.
unless you have, now I have a affinity for pepper, so
I do too.
I always have to add pepper even if there's plenty.
But it's not smothered, okay, in it, and that's the point I'm making is I can think of several places off the top of my head. I love potato soup. I love broccoli and cheese soup, and sometimes for whatever reason they it's like they take the end of the salt thing off and just pour it in there.
And part of that's preparation too. When you get, if you're utilizing something out of a can or maybe buying purchase stock, it's going to have a much higher sodium content because it's concentrated.
Right.
Sort of like dried beef or dried fruit. They're extracting the fluids. So what happens is, if when you're making it and you're adding salt the way you normally would, it's going to double it.
Okay.
So,
And just pull that up. There you go.
like that? That work
Okay.
better?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. And real TV, that's all it gets. But, all right, let's go ahead now. And we talked about lunch. Now you got dinner available at what days?
Yes, sir. Normally we have
Supper or dinner? I went through that when I first came here. Folks, dinner to me and her is supper, right?
dinner
And
is lunch to a lot
dinner
of
is
people.
lunch, yeah. But anyway, you have supper, dinner, the evening hour food.
The evening meal, we usually have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings. We recently closed on Saturdays just for the months of October and November for two reasons. One, we have diehard football fans here,
Right.
and with Alabama and Auburn games, so there weren't a lot of people coming in. And two, a lot of customers have asked if we would open for brunch. They wanted, when they're all dressed up from church, they
Right.
want to come in. So we said, okay, we'll try it. And then in December, when we get closer to the holidays, we'll reopen. So we'll basically have winter hours and summer hours. Because during the summer, a lot of people are going to the beach or the football, and they have kids playing the junior sports, or they're catching up on it. They're just running around like crazy. So we understand that, and we want to respond to what the community wants. And part of the reason we only do dinners a few nights a week is because the church suppers on Wednesday night are huge.
Right.
And we want to be able to support that. Mondays we just can't open because I'm involved with the First United Methodist Church's prayer shawl ministry, and that's my passion. They're a wonderful group of ladies. And then the other nights we're closed. But at Christmas, we've already had a couple bookings for private parties where people can come. They can order whatever menu they want. We'll prepare it. We'll do a buffet. We'll do a sit-down. It'll be all decorated, hopefully in the traditional, except, of course, for the bakery, because we're going to do Whoville. But in support of the Recreation and Tourism Committee project. So.
Well, you guys have got such a nice place over there, not to mention clean place to sit down and eat. I see your help going around all the time, wiping things down. One of the things that gets me is you pick up the salt shaker or whatever, and it goes, you don't have that over there, and you don't set your arms on the table and have to, pull them up. There's a lot of places like that. Not mentioning any, but,
And our kitchen's white.
Well, yeah.
So we can clean it.
Yeah, I took a peek in there the other day when we were talking to you. That thing looked like, I want to say a surgical room. It was just spotless.
That's how we want it. My husband and I go in on the weekends, and we're known to crawl around on the floor and clean the crevices that you just can't get on the day-to-day.
And your rating's very good from the health department.
It is.
So, and we have a very strict health department here too. When they come in, they'll look at those cracks
They do.
and crevices.
And they're strict, but they're helpful. I know when
Right.
we were opening, I called Mr. Williamson, I don't know, umpteen times with different questions and trying to figure out, because it was a complicated process creating a kitchen, a commercial kitchen in the footprint of the existing property. And anytime he had a question, he was just wonderful. He just would come out, and he still does. I still call and go, well, I'm going to do this, and is this going to work,
Right.
and is this correct?
That's
And
what we did when we had ours. It was, they were very helpful. They were willing to come out, okay? And you didn't have to worry about them coming out and hammering you, okay? It wasn't like an inspection every time they came out. What was his name that used to come out? Gosh, really nice guy. And I call him up, and he says, Eddie, I don't have to come out there. Just do it this way, and they're really nice about it. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the other part of your restaurant, which is you do catering. And we had a opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, to taste some of your catering, which was out of this world.
Oh, well, thank you. We
Over there at
appreciate
the Belly Dance for the Senior Citizens Center over there. And boy, that chicken, I don't know what you did to it, but you asked Teresa, I'm not a big chicken eater. But I could sit down and eat chicken like that all day long. And then I called it rice. Teresa called it by its right name.
That was couscous.
Couscous. Couscous. Okay.
We were trying to maintain the Mediterranean.
Well, I had couscous for the
Eastern
first
theme.
time. And it was great. It was like the whole plate was very tasty and had the right, and it wasn't overpowering because a lot of times you get these plates from different places in the world and they're overpowering. And if you're not used to that food from that part of the country or part of the world, you don't eat it. So getting back to the catering end of the business, I was telling you a little bit ago about I'm just learning that there's different facets to catering. When I talked to you, you said you dropped off the food over at the senior center and then they served it, okay? So you've got different levels of catering that you can do, from full service all the way down to...
We try and do whatever a customer wants. Different levels of catering have different, insurance responsibilities, and if you're driving it with the Silk Road event, they were supposed to pick it up, but they were short volunteers, so we brought it over, and they had volunteers serving, and we weren't busy. Most of our customers were at the event, so I stayed and helped plate the food, and organizing the food and what the menu was specifically designed knowing that we'd have volunteers serving, so that couscous is served in Middle Eastern cuisine at room temperature, so that it wasn't cold. You get some dishes and they're
Right.
cold and they kind of lose their pallor or taste. We've been lucky enough to do quite a few grooms brunches, or not grooms brunches, grooms tables at weddings at the farmers market and a couple other places. We're finding out, or I am, that a lot of grooms like cheesecakes, and for one wedding, we made a Clemson tiger, a purple regalia cheesecake with an orange tiger paw on it.
Wow.
And, the mother of the groom was running around as expected. And I said, oh, I have some crates. And they were doing a rustic theme. And, that family just did an absolutely beautiful job at transforming the farmers markets. And because it was so hot, we brought the cheesecakes over, right before,
Right.
just as a favor. We have another wedding reception coming up where, again, the parents of the bride and groom are going to be busy, as they should be at church. So can you drop this off between 3 and 3:30? Absolutely, if that's what you need. So we do platters, we do cakes to go, we'll do trays for a lot of the events. We've done luncheons where we do sandwich trays and a big bowl of pasta salad or potato salad or something they want. We can do platters. We close and do catering in-house.
I was going to say, do you do parties in-house?
Absolutely. We did a beautiful groom's brunch earlier this year. They rented out the whole restaurant, and we had smoked salmon platters and fresh fruit and the pretty fancy chafing dishes and the floor-long cloths, and it was a wonderful thing. So, when it's a closed event, we can allow different things. We probably will go in. A lot of people have inquired about wine and beer licenses. I have talked to the ABC. They've been wonderful. And if we do get a liquor license, then it's not a problem for wine and beer serving. We can't serve to the public,
I'll
and you
put a
can't
word
do
in with Scotty over there. That's my buddy.
and you can't do BYOB,
Right.
when you're open to the public. But if it is a closed event and they have the whole facility, say for a holiday party on a Monday or a Tuesday night or a Saturday night in November or something like that, then they can, as long as we have advance notice, so we make sure we have the
And
insurance
you
coverage.
do have Christmas party times available.
Absolutely.
And you will take those calls and set them up and work pricing out with them and do the whole 9 yards.
And we'll do it individual to whatever they want. Some people want sandwiches, somebody want a fixed plate, some want a buffet. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to go above and beyond and do individual for the neighborhood and what suits them.
All right. Tell us your hours of days you're open.
We're open Tuesday through Friday for lunch, and Sundays for brunch. Lunch is 11 to 2, and brunch on Sundays is 10 to 2. Again, those hours because of the different churches letting out.
Right.
And then we're open for dinner currently on Thursday and Friday evenings from 5 to 8. The last seating's at 8, so people shouldn't be shy. If it becomes necessary later on, we'll certainly stay open later. Hard to judge right now because of the high school football season.
Right.
you know, but if somebody comes in at 5 of 8, we're not rushing them out the door or turning them away.
Right.
We just, you know, we say that's the last seating. And then in December 7th, we'll start back up on Saturday evenings as well.
All right, and your phone number?
582 Cafe.
582 Convectionary. No, Cafe.
Cafe.
Boy, that'd be a long phone number.
That would.
582 CAFE.
Which is 2233 for anyone.
2233. There you go. You can't make that up.
No?
You did good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
We really appreciate it.
Well, folks, I'm telling you, here's another local business that is a mom and pop that we all need to storm in there and support. I mean, there's a lot of national chains that are here, and they're good. I mean, you know, they've got their purpose. But we got mom and pops that are built here that have come into this community to serve you. As you heard, she's concerned about the diet. She's concerned about the food. You know, I'm sure there's others out there that are that way, but you can hear the sincerity of what she does with her food preparation. And we sure would appreciate if y'all come out and visit Simone's, and we're going to come out and support you. And
Well, we appreciate it.
I love talking to your husband. Well, we got a lot in common too. He's a
Yeah.
Vietnam veteran. I'm a
Yes, he
Vietnam
is.
veteran, and
And the same place in Korea. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
How many people know?
Yeah. I was sat there and go, well, I was staying. Yeah, I was. It was like really, and I think it was pretty close to the same time too. Yeah. So, but anyway, we have a lot of good talks over there, and if you want to, just call her out of the kitchen. She'll come talk to you, and so will he. And again, God bless you. Thank you for doing what you do for our community.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. It's
Thanks for
been
coming on.
wonderful.
God bless
Appreciate
you.
it. God
Folks,
bless.
Simone's Cafe and Confectionery, located on, what's its,
1514 East 3 Notch.
right down the street, okay, right straight down here as you go right on the right.
The easiest way is right next to the churches or Old Crispy Chick.
Old, yeah, the old, yeah,
That's how
the
everybody
fried
identifies
place.
us. Yes.
No fried food at this place.
No.
None. Zero. Zippo.
No fried food.
Good, healthy food. Salads are good too, by the way. I forgot
They
to
are,
mention
but
that.
I mean, you know, the desserts. You eat a salad or something a little more healthy, and then you can splurge
And
on the
the
dessert.
dessert,
So I would
yeah.
say we're a healthy restaurant.
Yeah, you are. The
But,
desserts are always healthy.
That's right. That's why they're small portions. They're not as fat, and you can eat little bites, right?
Okay. Thanks for coming on. God bless you. Good luck to you. If there's anything we can do here for you, just let us know. Folks,
Okay.
Simone's Cafe and Confectionery. Give them a yell, stop on by, talk to them. You have catering, you have a party. Christmas party's coming up. Come on now. Nice atmosphere. If you haven't been in there, go stop in. Ain't going to cost you a thing to look around. Go get you a cookie, though, because I guarantee you'll come back for more. Folks, Eddie Lewis, Valerie Simone, thank you for watching Good News, Covington County.